Hey, 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 here we are. We're going to do some metric conversions today. So we're going to talk about how to use the ladder method when converting between different metric amounts, different metric prefixes, okay? Follow along here. I'll do some practice problems here, so feel free to do some on your own or on your own paper with us. Let's get started. Okay, so when we do the ladder method, the first thing we have to do is get our chart drawn. You do not need boxes like this, but you will need to memorize the metric prefixes. Those have to come from your head, memorized, and in the correct order, okay? So here's what they are. First is kilo, and kilo is 100 of the units, whatever the unit is. We'll talk that in a minute. Oh gosh, that's 1,000. Learn your numbers, Bowen. Okay, it's 1,000 units, not 100. Okay, that's kilo, 1,000. Then we have hecto, that's the 100, 100 of these basic units. Deca, pay close attention to this word. It's deca with a K and an A. Sometimes you'll see it with a C and an A, but it is always the one that ends with the vowel A, deca. 10 basic units. Then smaller than the basic unit, which is below the basic, is deci, which is why you need to know the difference. These are rather similar, don't get them confused. Deci is 1/10 of the basic unit. Centi is even smaller than that, and that is 100th of the base unit. And milli is 1,000th of the base unit. Okay? So our basic units are what we studied the past couple days, and that is the meters, the liter, and the gram. The meter, the liter, and the gram are all basic units for measuring different things about an object. Meter, length. Liter, volume, or the amount of space an object takes up. And grams, the amount of matter in the object, how heavy it is. So no matter what about the object we're measuring, we use these same 6 prefixes that mean those different amounts, okay? So today we're going to learn how do we convert from one to the other. How do we go from kilometers and see how many meters that is, or how many decaliters, and convert that to centiliters. And it's really easy. All it takes is counting. Okay? So if you read, to convert to a smaller unit, move the decimal point to the right, or multiply. We're not even going to do the multiplying. We're just going to move the decimal. If we want to convert to a larger unit, we're going to move the decimal to the left, or divide. And once again, we're not going to do the division here and now. We're just going to move that decimal point. And I want to make it really clear that you have to actually move the decimal point. Often students will do the things, but they'll leave their decimal point in the spot that it started. It has to move from its original spot to the new spot, okay? Because the ladder method is all about moving of the decimal point. And there are 3 steps. So when we convert using the ladder method, we ask ourselves 3 questions. Where's my starting point? How many jumps to my ending point? And then move the decimal point in our number that same direction and same amount. Where do I start? How many jumps to get to my end? And do the same thing to my actual number and decimal point. Okay? So now we're going to actually do a practice. Over here is a practice problem. So you're going to ask ask yourself the first thing, what's my starting point? Well, I always choose the prefix with the number in which I'm given. So it wants me to change 4 kilometers to, this is what I have to figure out, meters. How many meters is 4 kilometers? So my starting point is here, kilo. It's not just the M, because M is meter if it's by itself, like this. But it's a km, so kilometer, K, my starting point is here, right? My ending point is the unit with the blank that I'm trying to find out. So a single M stands for meter. Here's where the meters are found. So I need to get to this stepping point, all right? Then I ask myself, how many jumps to my ending point? Well, let's count it. 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 jumps to get from here to here. You notice I don't count blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't count blocks. I count jumps. 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps. And then I do my third step. Move the decimal the same number of jumps in the same direction. So here's my number, 4. I put in my decimal point because every whole number, the decimal point is hiding behind. And then I do my jumps. 1, 2, you notice I'm moving my decimal point with me. 3. When I'm done, I keep my decimal at the ending spot, the last place it jumped, and I fill in my empty spots with zeros. So my final answer is 4 kilometers is equal to 4,000 meters. And that's how you do metric conversions. Okay, so let's just do a practice one real quick. Just one, I'm going to make it up. Okay, let's say we have, 5.3 kilometers equals how many meters again? Okay, so now I have to ask myself, where do I start? This is where I start. Where do I end? This is where I end. How many jumps in what direction? So I start and I end. 1, 2, 3 to the right once again. So I'm going to rewrite my number. And I'm going to go 3 jumps to the right. So when I did that, I did 3 to the right. Okay, put my pencil on my decimal. 1, 2, 3. So my new number, fill in my holes. My new number is 5.3 kilometers equals 5,300 meters. Okay, so now Mr. Long is going to come in. He's going to do some practice with you and some other things. And I will become the video recorder. Okay, have fun.
All right. Hi, class. Hope you're studying well at home. This video is going to help you with your conversions. And I'm going to start with some other examples, but I'm going to leave this slide up for a second because Mrs. Bowen taught me a really cool mnemonic device to remember our jumps, going from the largest to our base unit, those are our meters, liters, and grams, and then to our smallest unit, which in this case will be milliliters. Oh, nice. We have a pink marker in this classroom. I need one of these. So, if you look at the starting letters, we have K, H, D, and then our base unit, I'm going to leave blank, DCM. So if I write that here in my beautiful handwriting, K, H, D, and I'll leave this blank just so you know, don't forget that there's a base unit in between. DCM. So Mrs. Bowen taught me King Hector died, and then our base unit, drinking chocolate milk. This is a mnemonic device to help you remember the order in which the latter method uses. So when it comes test time and you're struggling to think of it, remember, King Hector died drinking chocolate milk. And remember, in between, you need to have your base unit. So like Mrs. Bowen showed you, I'm going to also use an example, but we have some on our next screen that I'll start with. Oh, we have the ladder on this screen as well, so that's helpful. So our first example, we have 1,000 milligrams going to how many grams? So I'll write that here. Number 1,000 milligrams equals how many grams? So milligrams, we need to find our starting point. So our starting point would be our milk in our mnemonic, or our milli. And from here, we need to go to grams, which is our base unit. So we would have 1, 2, 3 jumps. 3 jumps. And this time, remember, we're going the different direction. Mrs. Bowen went to the right of the ladder. We're going to the left. Milli, centi, deci, base unit, grams. So for this one, I can rewrite my original one with the decimal, and I need to move to the left. 1, 2, 3. So my new decimal will go here, and that will equal 1.000 grams. Or, I don't need my zeros, just 1 gram. Be careful that you keep in mind which direction you're moving, because that decides the way the decimal's moving. I know a lot of you don't like math. This is how we avoid math. This is the trick. And it's also the beauty of the metric system, that you don't need math to do these conversions. If we're using the American system with gallons to cups, you have to do a lot of math, because there is no trick. So we look at this next one. Our second example, we have liters to milliliters. So this is basically the opposite of our first example. We have 1 liter equals how many milliliters? And liter will be our base unit for this one. Let me erase our jumps so we don't get confused. So from our base unit, I will write base here so we remember that. Starting here, first step, find your starting point. Then we need to move to milliliter. Milk. Milli. The very last one. So again, this will be 3 jumps. But this time we're moving to the right. So I can rewrite a decimal point after this, and then I need to jump 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And my new decimal point will go here. And in Mrs. Bowen's example, you need to fill in the jumps with zeros if there is not a number there already. If there is not a number present, those become zeros. So this will now become 1, and we need 3 zeros for our 3 jumps. 1,000 milliliters. you can do this same thing when we do have extra numbers. So I want to look at this one. It's a little more complicated. 109 grams to how many kilograms? Let me make some space. Grams to how many kg, how many kilograms? So this one, grams is our base unit, so that's the middle. Forgot to erase my jumps. And I need to go to kilograms, so K. That will be king in our mnemonic. So from the start, our base, we have 1, 2, 3. And here, I use a different color. I need 3 jumps. And which direction? We're going backwards from our base to the left. So my decimal is going to move to the left. 1, 2, 3. This will be my new decimal spot. So for kilograms, I will have 0.109, and then I will put a 0 there. Make sure you have the 0 present. 0.109. So the same way, it doesn't matter how many numbers there are or how many zeros there are, you can always use this method when we're dealing with the metric system. The last thing I want to look at is the bottom here. We have some comparisons. In order to compare different units of measurement, different levels of our ladder, we first need to make them the same unit so that we can understand the comparison. So here we have 56 centimeters and 6 meters. And we need to find out if it is greater, even, or equal. So I'm going to use the left and convert the right to the same as the left unit. So 56 centimeters, well, yeah, I'll convert the left to the right. Sorry, I confused myself. So I'm going to start with centimeters, which is here. That's our chocolate for our mnemonic, and we need to get to meters. So centi to our base unit, that will be 2 jumps. I can write that here again so you can see easily. Centimeter, 2 jumps. And remember, we're going left, we're going up the ladder. So our decimal will need to go backwards. Our new decimal will be there. So 56 centimeters is equal to 0.56 meters. And remember your 0. So 0.56 meters, 6 meters, which one is bigger? 6 meters. So in order to do these comparison problems, you need to get them to the same unit of measurement. So the problems that we did not solve on here, I'd like you to take a look at those, and on the next slide, we have a bunch of example problems for you to fill in. So you need to practice your abbreviations, right? That's what we're doing here? Yes, abbreviations. And on the next one, do the comparisons like we practiced together. And that's all I have for you today. Mrs. Bowen might have some closing messages for you.
Okay, ladies and gents, boys and girls, all the people of 7th grade science, what we want to make sure of is that you are practicing these. So we're going to get out of the way so you can take a screenshot if you want of these practice problems and practice them on your own. We will also give you some other practice games and things, but practice these, try them out, rewind and rewatch the video, and just make sure you're good to go. All right, have a good one.
Have a good day.